Hello drone lovers, welcome to my channel. My name is KM. Okay, with this build partially completed, I have a few decisions to make before I proceed. Should I put the ESC with the battery leads facing here or here? There seems to be very little space for this big capacitor at the back. And another way is to put it sideways. Okay, if I put sideways, which means I need to have the cable from the ESC to the flight controller mounted sideways, and this could damage it if it's crashed. With this also, the solder pads for the ESC will be inside the body, but that's not really important. I mean, you can also always solder at the sides here with no issue at all. So I think the best decision, because the initial decision why I thought that I couldn't put the ESC battery lead at the back is because I thought that this cable was too short. But I think iFlight did provide this cable with open ends, okay, and they provide you a connector as well. So you could actually put this in the connector, put all these inserts into this connector, and then you can connect your ESC and flight controller with this longer piece of cable assembly. So I think I will put the battery leads at the front, and I will make it come out here, and I might tie it to a post here, because the battery will sit here, and it's easier for the batteries to connect to the post here or to the post here. Well, that decision can be left later, but most important thing is, where do I position the ESC battery lead? Here or here or here? So now it seems like it's not here anymore, because if I put a capacitor here, the capacitor is going to be very wobbly. So here will be the best chance, but we have the DJI cable dangling here, but I think it's still okay because there's still ample space, okay, to mount this capacitor. Okay, then we'll go ahead with mounting it at the front. Okay, you can see now that the cable is put in, is long enough to actually put it this way. So I have my flight controller Sorry, it's the other way. So this way, yes, yeah. So my flight controller's arrow is pointing to the front. You can see from here. And then my battery lead will be also from the front. So it will be mounted this way with the metal case at the bottom, which is much better for cooling as well. So yeah, we can put it in this way. Okay, right now before I put it in, this is the cable for the DJI connection to the air unit. Okay, we only need the first 4 cables, the power, ground and the TX-RX. The last 2, which is the black and yellow one, is not really required. Okay, as can be seen from this documentation here, using other transmitters, R1 and ground, the first 2 is not connected. So, which means if I look from this angle, R1 and ground would be the blue, the orange, the yellow and the black cable. So I need to remove it because it's not used. It's only used for DJI. If you use DJI as a controller. Okay, let me remove it. Okay, I have now prepared the cable harness for the DJI after removing these 2 wires. So this one will connect to the DJI air unit, and now the cable to the ESC is also connected. So before I connect it, I have to remove it first, and now is the time to solder it. I need to do the soldering first of the ESC with the motors. Okay, so where's my capacitor? The capacitor will need to go in here at the bottom. Maybe leaving a bit of space for the cables. Okay, is it enough space for the cable? DJI cable is very tight. I think it's okay. Okay, mount on the side here. Yeah. Okay, now that everything is planned, this is how we're going to wire it. Let's stick to this plan, and I will solder up, and we'll see what's the next stage like. Now I'm getting ready to flash the R-XSR. I have the R-XSR adapter to the Taranis. So to the Taranis, I'll be connecting to the back port here. And the bottom 3 pins will have the supply on the top, the middle pin, and then the second last pin is black, which is ground, and the last pin is S port. So similarly, based on the instructions here, you can see the output for these 3 pins. If you look this way, ignore this one. You see the top one is ground, and then you have 5 volts, the red one, and you have S port, which is the yellow one that goes here. This one is the inverted S port, which will only be used if you're using F4 controller. But for the F7 Succex-D, it is an F7, so we don't need to invert it. We can invert it in the software, in the CLI. So let's get ready. Let's power off first. Okay, before I flash, on the safe side, I better check the continuity of these wires. So the red one goes to the red pin, which is the middle, the second one. The black one is the first pin, and the yellow one is the third pin. No shorts, okay? Anyway, it won't have a short. Okay, let's put this aside, and let's remove the R9. And if you see from here, okay, this connector here, we need to connect the last 3 pins, the bottom 3 pins. The bottom 3 pins is the ground, is the supply, the ground, and S port. So we connect the last 3 pins, make sure it's the last 3 pins. And then, because I've already flashed before, so I would presume that I have the file inside the SD card. Okay, let me take out this black tape because I want to see the LEDs. And later I can put back transparent tape to allow transparency, see-through. Okay. Let's put it aside. Hopefully we can see the LED. Where is the LED? Let me see. Okay. Yeah, the bottom part. Okay. So let's get ready to flash. Hopefully everything is fine. There's no mistake. If there's a mistake, I might break the firmware. Okay, power on.
Welcome to OpenTX.
Okay, let's hold the button here and go to radio setup, and then page up once. Then you see firmware, enter, and you choose R-XSR F port. R-XSR FCC, R-XSR F port, yes. But just glance through R9 mini, R9 mini, R9M, R9 slim, readme.txt, R-XSR F port. There's so many. Okay, this one is ACCT. So I'm not very sure which one I'm supposed to flash. Okay, let me check first and I'll come back. Okay, so now we will try to download the FrSky firmware for the R-XSR. We will try to download the one from for F ports. So we just go to FrSky, www.FrSky, or just type FrSky. It will come out FrSky-rc.com. Press enter. Okay, click on downloads. Okay, and then we go to the receiver tab. Under receiver, let's hunt for R-XSR. Load more. R-XSR here. Okay, over here we have Manual, you have certificate, you have access and ACCD. So this Taranis is the ACCD, so we will go for ACCD. And fix, okay, this one. Updated 3.2.4. Let's, on the curiosity side, let's look for access firmware. Okay, there's F port for access firmware, but I don't see F port for ACCD-D16. But anyway, let's download that one first and see maybe it's part of it. Where did it go? Where did it go? Download. Load more. R-XSR. ACCD. Download here. Okay, let's save it to save as. Let's go to beta flight documents. Let's go to drone, remote control, R-XSR. Okay, let's create a new folder called, put a date here so that it doesn't get mixed up with the rest. 202006.07, I think so. Let's click here, let's download 2.1, zip into here. Okay, open the folder and let's check if we have F port in the zip. Let's unzip it. Extract all. Okay. Extract. Let's go in. Yes. So we have F port for FCC FRK. So what we need is to connect this F port one, or load this F port one, which is 2.1.0. I'm not sure whether I have it here.
Welcome to OpenTX.
Get a USB mini cable. Okay, so let's switch it off first. Need to boot it up by holding these two buttons and turn it on. Okay, bootloader mode. And let's connect it to the PC. Okay, let's look for not Taranis, look for an E drive firmware. Okay, there's so many firmware here. I don't even know which one is 2.1. Okay, the old one I have for R-XSR is 2.0.1. So now the latest one is 2.1.0. So I better get the latest one. Okay, so we're going to go to the folder, the earlier folder. Okay, and then we're going to drag 2.1 into the USB-D folder. 2.1 F port, right? 2.1.0 for FCC. ACCT. Okay. Drag it into here. Okay, so we have this inside the Taranis now. So let's close everything. Okay, that's all for the PC. So let's now flash it. Okay, let's hold this button, pitch up, firmware 2.1.0, this one. Okay, the old one is 2.0.1. So make sure we select the 2.1.0. This is again R-XSR ACCT 2.1.0 F port. Okay, now hold it, and then we flash external module. Okay, let's press it. Okay, as you can see, the LED is now on, so I have very good confidence that it is flashing. And I've also made sure that I have enough battery in my Taranis, at least 7.5 volts of battery power left, so that it won't die halfway while flashing, because you don't want to break the firmware. Once you break the firmware, that means before closing the firmware and the battery dies, it's going to prevent you from uploading the firmware in future. Okay, once it's done, press exit twice, and then we can power off the Taranis. Okay, then we can unplug this 3-wire S-port cable from the back and just plug back the R9 immediately. Okay, so now our R-XSR is already flashed with the latest F-port firmware from FR Sky. So what we need to do now is I need to change the antenna. Okay. So there is one antenna or two antennas? There are two antennas. So not this one, this is for 900 megahertz. Yeah, this one. So basically, I'm just going to plug it out and plug it in. Two antennas. So I'm going to pull out this adapter for flashing. And got this wire which I will cut. So I will pull out this white and green wire which I don't need. I just put these 3 wires. I'm going to solder these 3 wires onto the X7 controller. Let me get my keys. So now let's pull out these 3 wires or 2 wires. I'm going to lift this catch up. Okay, and it's going to come down, so it'll be quick to pull the white wire out and lift out the green cap up. Okay, get ready to pull it out. Yeah. So just leave these 3 wires in there, and then you're going to plug it back here. Okay. Tightly fit. Okay. Later I'm going to check the continuity to make sure that these 3 wires has continuity. But I'm going to solder these 3 wires onto the power and ground on the F7, and the S port I'm going to solder to a transmitter port for maybe transmitter 3, T3. T3 is not in use. No, T3 is used for GPS, so I'm going to solder to T5. And for my R-XSR, it's going to be using T5 to control, and I'm going to use T2 from the R9 Slim. So I have 2 receivers to choose from whenever I fly. So if I don't use my R9, if my R9 runs out of battery or what, I can use the lower power one. Okay, now what I can do is we need to put some glue on the antenna joints so that it won't come out during mid-flight. Get this glue all around. Right, just leave it to dry for a day. Then it'll be rubbery. You'll feel rubbery, and you'll just like hug the board. Okay, so the gum that holds the antenna is now dried up, so I'm able to now put this thick string tube around it, around this thing, around the board. Yep. Okay, I'll do it now, and then I'll continue with putting it into the quad. I intend to put it here at the bottom of this part here. You can see just below the DJI FPV unit, and then the wires for the antenna will just come up from the sides here. Yeah, because then my long range one will be mounted at the back. I have 2, one at the back and then one at the front. I hope it does not interfere. Yeah, that should be the way. So many antennas on this quad. Okay, I finally finished the wiring. The cable here, this is from the GPS module. So the green wire is the receiver, so it connects to T3, and the white wire is the transmitter, goes into R3. As for the F port from the receiver, the yellow wire goes into T5, and because I have not enough supply, I'm sharing the supply between the GPS and my R-XSR. So you can see, okay, I'm tapping the supply from here. It's a 5 volt for 2 of these items. So I have one more supply here, which is 5 volt at the corner. This will be reserved for my Slim Plus. And of course the buzzer, there's another 5 volt here, which I will use it for the buzzer. Okay, so that's the wiring, and I'm going to put it back into the quad. Of course the receiver, I still have to bind it first before I put back. Okay, this will be the first time that I'm going to power on the quad. So to bind the receiver, so I've checked every connection, seems good. So I'm going to power on my radio, and use a smoke stopper
Welcome to
to
Open
power on my
TX.
quad.
Throttle warning.
Okay,
Switch warning.
so I'm going to select, okay, since this is 5-inch, I'm going to select my 5-inch that was using R-XSR before, and I'm going to copy the model. So the previous 5-inch is NASGO number 8. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to copy and I'm going to put it at number 12. Okay, and then I'm going to select 12 and I'm going to edit 12. Okay, page name NAZ. Okay, so this is NASGO, sorry. Okay, Mk4HD5 is my model. Okay, so for this one, we're going to bind it. It's using D16. Okay, internal RF. Okay, I'm going to press on bind. Before that, let me switch off the smoke stopper. I think on the safe side, I better remove my props. Okay, I've removed my props. So now I'm going to connect. Oh no, I got a cut from removing my props. Okay. Okay. Let's hold on to press the bind button. Channel 1 to 8 telemetry on. Okay, let's hold this button down. And power on. Good. Off the bind, off the supply, and let's on it again. And still don't get a bind. Let's try again. This is the first time I ever experienced a non-successful binding. I've got to feel the button. Okay, let go. Press the button and switch it off. Okay, on it again. Binding is not good. Okay, previously I downloaded the F-port version for 2.1.0, and according to the website in FrSky 2.1.0, if you update the R-XSR, you need to also upgrade your radio. So I downloaded back the old version, which is the 191128 version. And that one he said is not compatible with the 2.x version of the radio. So this is now the pre 2.0.0 version. So let's try to see if I can bind with this one. Okay, now let's go to bind. Channel 1 to 8 telemetry on. Okay, I'm going to pull this button on it. Okay, let go, unbind it, power off, on again, and it's bound. Okay, so that's the reason why it wasn't binding earlier on, because the latest version of version 2 of the FrSky firmware for R-XSR means that you have to upgrade your radio and your receiver together to that version. So if I'm not going to plan to upgrade my radio, I better use the last version that wasn't upgraded, which is dated 191128. Okay, so now I'm going to put the receiver
Telemetry
in.
lost.
Let's check the telemetry first. Let's go back here, hold down 2 seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds, and discover new sensors. There's no
Telemetry recovered. Telemetry lost. Telemetry recovered.
Yep, I can see telemetry coming in, but it's only R-XSI. That's all. Oh yes, we need to go to beta flight and configure the receiver to use D16, and I haven't done that yet, and I haven't selected the F port as the protocol yet. So that should be done next. Okay, let's power off. Now that it's bound.
Telemetry lost.